Good afternoon. We'd like to welcome you to the 2014 Portsmouth State of the City Luncheon. I am Earnhardt Spencer, Chair of the Portsmouth Division of the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce and an attorney at Cooper, Spong & Davis, proudly located right here in Old Town Portsmouth. On behalf of the officers and members of the Portsmouth Board of Directors, we'd like to welcome you to this historic little port city on the western branch of the Elizabeth River that you call Portsmouth and we call home. If you haven't had an opportunity to visit Portsmouth in a while, it's a beautiful day. We would encourage you to take a stroll through Old Town and visit some of our historic homes, venues, eclectic restaurants, businesses, and shops. Before we get started, there's a little housekeeping in order. We need to ask that if you have a cell phone, if you could please place it on vibrate or silent so as not to disturb the speaker or those around you. Thank you. So, for all of you who tweet, we have a real treat for you today. The Chamber will be tweeting from today's event. You can follow us at @Chamber757. And if you are going to tweet about today's event, we ask that you use hashtag PortsmouthSOC. So it's hashtag PortsmouthSOC for those of you who will be tweeting. Now, before we begin, we would like to ask you to stand as we have the presentation of the colors by the Tidewater Area Special Ceremonies Detail, United States Coast Guard. And after the presentation of the colors, we will have the singing of the national anthem by Ryan Connolly from the Virginia Opera. We ask that you please remain standing as the invocation will be led by Chaplain Charles Rowley, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy, Navy Medical Center, Portsmouth.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It is indeed my pleasure to be here with you today. The invitation to come and provide a chaplain today came to the Naval Hospital, and since I am a Portsmouth native, graduate of Wilson High School in the last century, it was something that I jumped at the opportunity to do. I moved back here in September, and it's a great joy to be here. P-Town is home, and it's a great to be here. Would you bow with me in prayer? Gracious and loving God, you've blessed us in ways untold. You've walked beside us and guided us along our path. We praise you for the many ways in which you have revealed yourself to us. We come before you this day as we celebrate not only our past, but also that which is yet to be. We who are citizens of this great city with a history of well over 250 years acknowledge your faithfulness. From the shores of the Elizabeth River to the far reaches of Churchland, from Craddock and Truxton to Prentice Park and Old Town, we gather our collective voices and hearts in prayer that you, O God, may watch over our city. We pray that you guide the hearts of our elected officials as they seek to do that which is best for all citizens. Grant them wisdom, integrity, and compassion for these, your people. For our first responders and uniformed service members, watch over all that they do and keep them safe from all harm. For our educators, bless them with the skills to continue to educate and enable our children and youth that they too may achieve their highest goals. For all of our other members who work for our fair city, guard and guide them. Oh Lord, we lift up to you our business partners who keep the economic engine of our city going. Enable them to know those things which will help us to grow and survive and succeed. For all who live here, newcomer and lifetime residents, whether young or old, regardless of age or economic status, grant mercy and health. On this day, O Lord, while we look at the past with an eye toward the future, may we be enlivened and excited to see what the future holds. May we each be reminded of our shared responsibility for all that this fine city can be and move forward with strength and power of your guiding spirit. May our community pride grow like the flowers of spring. May we see within ourselves that which will enable us to build together a better community. O Lord, we ask this in your most holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Rowley, for that invocation, and thank you, Ryan, for that beautiful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. As a service to our citizens and the business community, the Chamber hosts a State of the City address in each of the 5 Southside cities. The information Mayor Wright will share with us today will provide insight on issues that impact the daily lives of both our citizens and businesses in Portsmouth. Mayor Wright, on behalf of all who are here today, thank you for your leadership. The Portsmouth Division of the Chamber, along with the business community, look forward to continuing to work with you, members of City Council, and the municipal leadership in the months ahead. At this time, I want to give special thanks for the generous support of our sponsors. Our series presenting sponsor, Town Bank. Our series platinum sponsor, Bon Secours, Virginia Health System. Our series gold sponsor, Geico. Our series silver sponsors, Farm Fresh and Centera Optima Health Plans. Our series media sponsor, Cox Communications, and our series bronze sponsor APM Terminals. I also want to thank all of our program and table sponsors, a list of which can be found on the back of your program. And I'm being told that I should have let you been seated by now. But to my defense, in my prepared remarks that was provided by the person that told me you should be seated, I now say, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to be seated and enjoy your lunch. At this time, I'd like to introduce the members of our head table. Beginning on my far right, your left, we have Michael Kerner. Michael is the president and CEO of Bon Secours Virginia Health System, today's Platinum Series sponsor. And next to him, we have Michael Dudley, president, Centera Health System, and 2014 chair of the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce. Next to Michael, we have my favorite bank president, Dawn Glenn. Dawn is president, Town Bank, and my notes say Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, but not to offend the marketing department of Town Bank, for this event it's President Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Suffolk. And Town Bank is our series presenting sponsor. Of course, we have the Honorable Kenneth Wright, Mayor, City of Portsmouth. And we also have with us, next to him, our new President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, Brian Stevens. We're very happy that Brian's here. We look forward to Brian's direction and leadership. We're very excited about the future of Chamber under Brian's tutelage. And next to Brian, we have Chaplain Charles Rowley, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy, Naval Medical Center, Portsmouth. Please join me in a round of applause for all our distinguished guests at the head table. There are also a number of special guests in the audience today that we would like to recognize, including a number of appointed and elected officials. We ask that you, in the interest of time, please hold your applause till all introductions are made. But I've been told by the elected officials it's okay to throw money. You have to hold your applause, but you can throw money. Is that right, Mayor? All right. So, if you would like to stand and be recognized as I call your name, today we have with us from the City of Portsmouth, Vice Mayor Paige Cherry, Councilman Bill Moody, Councilman Marlene Randall, Councilwoman Elizabeth Simmis, Councilman Danny Meeks, City Manager John Rowe. Where are you, John? City Attorney George Wilson, City Treasurer Jimmy Williams, Director of Economic Development Patrick Small, Commissioner of Revenue Frankie Edmondson, Sheriff Bill Watson, Rear Admiral Stephen Ratty, Commander, 5th Coast Guard District, Captain Jim Hancock, Executive Officer, Naval Medical Center, Portsmouth. We're also delighted to have with us Mayor Alan Krasnoff, who I believe is over here from the City of Chesapeake, Senator John Cosgrove, and my good friend, on behalf of U.S. Senator Mark Warner's office, Denise Good. These hardworking public servants deserve our sincerest thanks during these promising but trying times. And we all sincerely appreciate your dedication to Portsmouth and this region. Let's give them a big hand. I now would like to have Dawn come forward, and Dawn will be introducing the mayor.
Thank you, Spencer. Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with everyone today and to be back in my hometown of Portsmouth, where I was born and raised. So glad to be here today with everyone. The Honorable Kenneth Wright is a Portsmouth native, as well as President and CEO of Wright's Engineering of Portsmouth. He has an inspiring history of community involvement and public service, having served with excellence on many local boards and committees. He was first elected mayor in 2010 and re-elected again in November of 2012. Mayor Wright is past president of the Portsmouth Schools Foundation and served on the board of directors for the Portsmouth Public Schools Starbase Victory Program. Currently, Mayor Wright serves as a member of the Southside and Hampton Roads Mayors and Chairs, Hampton Roads Economic Development Alliance Board of Directors, Hampton Roads Transit, Hampton Roads Military and Federal Facilities Alliance, the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization, and Hampton Roads Planning District Commission. He's a little busy, isn't he? Mayor Wright is a 1991 graduate of Old Dominion University, where he studied mechanical engineering technology. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to our mayor, Mayor Wright.
Thank you. Oh, good job. Well, good afternoon. It is indeed a blessing to our community to see all of you here. It shows you're interested and invested in our city, its progress, and its future. Today, it is my honor and privilege and duty to deliver our State of the City address, and I can assure you all that the state of our city is healthy, it's growing, and it's aggressively moving out of the economic downturn that was experienced nationwide. Now, at this time, we've got a brief 5-minute video that I'd like to have your attention on, and after the conclusion of that, you're going to hear the greatest speech ever given in the history of coastal Virginia. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. And as you can see, we've had an exciting year from that short, brief video. And just to highlight a few more of those things of what we've done last year, to kind of put that video in perspective, we launched our first ever disparity study last year to attract more women and minority businesses and give opportunities to all here in the city of Portsmouth. We launched our great Healthy Portsmouth Weight Loss Initiative. It's going strong. We probably came in contact with over 1,000 of our citizens throughout the course of the year, either in walking, exercising, doing learning about healthy lifestyle choices. And as you all know, I threw my personal business out on the line and made a pledge to lose 100 pounds and fell just a little short. Yesterday, I weighed in and I'd only lost 53 pounds. So there's always next year. So we're going to keep that going. But I want to thank our health department and all of our partners with this Healthy Portsmouth initiative because, again, this is extremely important. We launched a recycling program, as you saw in the video, the first time in about 10 years. And we brought that program back. And right now we're satisfied at our 50% participation rate. And at our mid-year review, the numbers show that we could possibly save $1 million a year if we continue on that path. We also financially, we stabilized our 2 city-closed pension systems. We did that by maintaining our strong AA bond rating. We created a Department of Neighborhood Advancement to broader focus on our diverse neighborhoods within our city. We, for the first time in quite a while, reached full staffing levels with our police department. We now have 263 sworn police officers, and last year we had the lowest number of homicides in 15 years. Also, we had the largest increase in new construction permits in the region, right here in Portsmouth, 53.3% over 2012. The average sale price for a home in Portsmouth increased 9.6%. That's second in the region behind Williamsburg. Our permits and inspection department has reported that 4,193 permits were issued with a total valuation of almost $65 million. And as of February the 28th of this year, we've already issued 992 permits. That's up 56% from last year. And finally, last year we posted a 6th straight year of surplus funds. So my friends, colleagues, and the Portsmouth community, the state of our city is good, it's growing, and it's healthy. Now, I know we've already recognized all of our elected officials and our appointed officials here, but again, I want to just say a few words about our elected team, all of our boards and commission, all of the people in the Portsmouth family that make what we do a great success each year. That can't be done by 1 or 2 people. It is all of us collectively working together. So at this time, I want to give another round of applause not only to our council, our school board members that are here, and all of our, again, our boards and commissions that we count on dearly. Thank you very much. Now, 2014 is already shaping up to be quite a year. In just a few months' time, our city has weathered 3 major snowstorms with grit and fortitude. We want to particularly single out the men and women of the Public Works Department, our Public Utilities Department, our Police Department, the Fire Emergency Services, and our Sheriff's Department. They all work together tirelessly during these winter storms, and today we just want to recognize them and let them know that we're proud of you and thank you for your dedication and your commitment to the city of Portsmouth. We also at this time want to single out our Portsmouth Volunteers for the Homeless and thank them for their help during these winter storms, working with 53 houses of faith within Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, and students from Virginia Wesleyan College. PVH provides nightly shelters for homeless persons from mid-November to May each year, and in partnership with a diverse group of faith-based organizations, PVH offers our homeless population a safe and warm night's shelter and a hot home-cooked meal. So at this time, I want to thank also Roxanne Flamer and all of the extraordinary volunteers that we have at PVH for what you do for our homeless brothers and sisters. Thank you. Now, this next person I want to introduce, when he came to Portsmouth, we only had 3 of our schools had received full state accreditation and estimated that it would take 7 years to get all 20 to do so. He and his staff did it in 6 years, and in the September of 2009, this gentleman took the stage at Willard Hall in front of about 2,000 school employees and did the moonwalk on stage to celebrate our students' achievement. Recently, Dr. David Stuckwish, our school division superintendent for the last 11 years, announced his retirement in August. Dr. Stuckwish, we cannot think of a better time than today, sir, to thank you for your service and wish you all of the best in your future. As I reflect on things that I wanted to say today, nothing would touch the compliments, sir, that you received a couple of weeks ago from United States Senator Mark Warner. He was here for our first college program, and he talked about the partnership with our schools and all of these other institutions like TCC to be able to bring fruit and help our next generation. And our young kids in this first college program started in 2006 with 19 students, and this year we'll graduate 1,000 kids from that first college program. It also made me think of the partnerships that you have either fostered or worked with our Star-Based Victory program, our career and technical programs that was launched under your leadership, the partnerships with our Beasley Foundation, and one of my favorites, the partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. We currently have Boys and Girls Clubs in 3 of our schools. That's afternoon programs that these kids, immediately after school, can stay at school and participate in this Boys and Girls Club. We have 3. Our flagship location is at Hodges Manor Elementary School, and that's running about 7 years now. We have Douglas Park Elementary as well as W.E. Waters Middle School. And speaking of those partnerships and those collaborations, that just didn't happen overnight. Again, it's our superintendent working with our business community, with the Boys and Girls Club, and the board. And that board consists of civic-minded people from our business and our religious community. And I saw as I was running around Mr. Bob Williams, Bob here was our first chairman of the board for the Boys and Girls Club here. And Bob was very instrumental in bringing back the Boys and Girls Club at Douglas Park as well as the one over at Waters. And I want to thank Bob and all of those board members for what you do. You know, the relationships that we create and the relationships that he's created with being able to think outside of the box and bring these types of initiatives to Portsmouth has just been amazing. Everyone in our city has talked about these great accomplishments and what our kids were doing and what these programs have meant to so many of our kids, that the statistics show that between 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 o'clock, we're losing a lot of those kids to things that they shouldn't be involved with. So our Boys and Girls Clubs that we have here in just those 3 schools have proved, and the data shows that at every one of those kind of locations, the statistics and the scores soar. So Dr. Stuckwish, again, I can't think of a better time, sir. Would you please stand? We want to give you a round of applause. And as a note to my city council members and all of the leaders here in the city, if there's any one thing we can do to have an immediate impact on our young people, it's to fund programs like these after-school Boys and Girls Club. These kids need to stay right there at school where they have fun. We've got a power hour where the kids get to enjoy themselves, do homework, get mentored, they eat, and all of those things, and a lot of the parents get them around 6:30 or 7 o'clock. That is a huge benefit. So all of us that are in charge of the purse strings here, and I'm directing this to my council and my colleagues, we need to fund a Boys and Girls Club in every one of our elementary and junior high schools. Continuing with our schools, we want to recognize some of our past graduates from our Portsmouth Public Schools who have served our community with great pride. These two Portsmouth native sons are just some of what makes us special. Because we all learned in elementary school, I hope most of us here that went to elementary school in Portsmouth remember the song that we used to always sing, Portsmouth is for people, all kinds of people. First up, I'd like to introduce Dr. William Bill Snyder. Dr. Snyder is a 1962 graduate of Woodrow Wilson High School. He received his PhD at Harvard and became one of CNN's senior political analysts for 19 and a half years, where he won both a Peabody Award and an Emmy. He was named a Portsmouth Notable and also received a Distinguished Alumnus Award from the Portsmouth School Foundation. Joining us here today, Bill, would you please stand? Welcome home, sir. We salute you. Next is a gentleman that I think we all know from his civic duties and in and out around the community, James Overton. We all know him as Slim. Well, Slim's a 1972 graduate of I.C. Norcom High School. James is a model citizen and a longtime community leader who has served on many Portsmouth boards and commissions, and most recently served on the Board of Equalization. Today, we're honored to have James' wife, Benet, here in his absence. For those of you that don't know, James couldn't be with us today because he's currently on the waiting list for a heart transplant at Centura Norfolk General Hospital. Slim, we're praying for you, my brother, and wishing you a speedy recovery. We need you back here at home, doing what you love to do best, serving your city and serving your neighborhood. And Benet, would you please stand? We love you, and we want to thank you for sharing James with us. Now, we're also fortunate to have some of our current students here and coaches in attendance. Has made us all proud this year. Well, they make us proud every year, but we've got over at table 35, and we've named it our Table of Champions. So at this time, if we can get our Table of Champions to stand up, and I'm going to try to do this in the right order. We have representation at this table from all three of our high schools, Wilson, Norcom, and Churchland. We've got our girls basketball coach, Roger Smith from Wilson, and one of his players, Tamara Harris. From IC Norcom, we've got our coach of the year for the boys varsity basketball team, Leon Gooseby. He's accompanied by Troy Locke, our player of the year. Also Antonio Parker on the team. We also have Jeremiah Gardner from IC Norcom. He's the senior class president and a great music student and made the all-state course. And lastly at IC Norcom, we have Devaris Brown. He's a junior and a member of our track team. At Churchland, we've got our coach of the year there, track coach, Mr. Alonzo Ricks. And he's accompanied by Walter Neely Williams. Walter is on the varsity track team, and reading in Walter's bio, he's heading over to be a cadet next year at VMI. And that's right, I want to... Well, I singled Walter out because I told my manager when I was coming in here that I was going to have him stand. So, John, would you please stand? Walter, you need to see this man before you leave. And he's a great VMI guy, and I'm sure he can give you a lot of heads up and expectations of where you're going. And finally, at that table, we've got Robert Bradshaw. And Robert's from Churchland, and I got to tell you, when you ask teachers to give you a little info on their students, and our teachers are so proud of our kids, they tend to give you way more than what you ask for. But they know that I'll read it all, whether I announce it all. But I read this one here that I got from one of Robert's teachers, and I wanted to read this because this fella symbolizes most of all of the things I just mentioned about those great partnerships. And they write here that Robert Bradshaw is one headed to Old Dominion University. Robert is a 4-year baseball player, a 3-year golfer, founder of our fan section that's affectionately named The Swamp. Robert, you need to explain that later. He is currently enrolled in our first college program and is proud to be carrying a full course load at TCC with straight A's for the midterms. And oh, by the way, this is her words, oh, by the way, he is also a talented singer. So to all of our young people there and our coaches, we want to thank you for what you've done and congratulations on a great year. And I kind of, I like to get off script. So to keep me on script, I enumerated all of these things that we've accomplished so I don't have some kid or teacher tell me I didn't mention. So our IC Norcom boys basketball team are the 2014 Group 4A state champions this year. This is their 3rd state championship in 5 years. Our young ladies from Woodrow Wilson were the Eastern District champions, girls basketball. Our Churchland High School track team was the Eastern District indoor champs, and the IC Norcom track team was the Eastern District outdoor champs. And as I mentioned, we've got 2 Coach of the Years back there, Leon Gooseby from Norcom from basketball, and Alonzo Ricks from Churchland for track. And I also put down here, and I love talking about robotics. Y'all know I'm an engineer, but last year, the Portsmouth Public Schools, there's a world competition in Anaheim, California, a world, not a national, not a regional, a world. And the city of Portsmouth sent 3 teams to the world competition in Anaheim, California. 2 of those key teams were from Churchland, and 1 was from IC Norcom. So again, let's give them a hand. Now, staying with our schools, this next young lady I want to introduce, I singled her out because she's just such a ball of fire, and I was trying to use my Alicia Keys voice and sing "This Girl Is on Fire." But I would like our citywide Teacher of the Year to please stand. That's Amy Strickland. Amy, would you please stand? A couple of weeks ago, we were extremely honored to be in attendance as Amy was selected citywide. She's a science teacher at IC Norcom High School. She's also the cheering coach at IC Norcom High School. And I understand, Amy, you also coached soccer at one time at IC Norcom High School. So, Ms. Strickland, we're extremely proud of you and all of our teachers and all of our administrators in our schools. So thank you and congratulations in representing us not only regional but nationally with the Teacher of the Year. Now, Tidewater Community College's Visual Arts Center is a freestanding, state-of-the-art, comprehensive art school serving students from all over Hampton Roads and beyond. The 33,000 square foot building houses 14, this is right here in downtown Portsmouth now, not out at the new campus, right here at downtown. I like to reference everything by the old name. The old famous building houses 14 studios, classrooms, a critique room, an art library, and a student lounge. The center's gallery, which is open to the public, is one of the premier exhibition spaces in the region in which local, national, and international work is displayed. Speaking of our TCC folks, our students this year had a big banner year. The 3-story, 59,000 square foot student center was open. You saw that in the video. This brand new state-of-the-art facility is on the cutting edge and dedicated to enhancing the student experience. And this building has everything in it, from Wi-Fi to plazas to study hall to computer rooms. And at the grand opening, I was honored to tell those kids that when I attended TCC, my student center was sitting in my car until my class started. And it didn't go over well, they just kind of looked. But Dr. Michelle Woodhouse, the provost over there, she got it and understood, and she started clapping. And when the boss claps at college, everybody claps. So we're pleased to have Dr. Woodhouse here. Would you please stand, Michelle? Again, we want to thank you and all of the faculty and staff at TCC for what you're doing. Now, since the founding of our city, our economy has been tied to the Elizabeth River. Portsmouth is part of the Port of Hampton Roads, the world's largest natural harbor and one of the busiest ports in the United States. The port is unobstructed and ice-free with 50-foot channel depth and a direct link to over 80 ports worldwide. It is an important link in our nation's international shipping trade and our military. In 2009, the city of Portsmouth became the 8th city and the only city in Hampton Roads to be designated as an official Coast Guard city. The Coast Guard selected Portsmouth due to the city's nearly 200 years of support. This honorary distinction is indicative of the productive ongoing relationships that we have with the Portsmouth community and our local Coast Guard units, and that's including the 5th District, the Atlantic area, Base Portsmouth, and Sector Hampton Roads. And with us today, as was introduced earlier, Rear Admiral Stephen Ratty, who assumed command of the 5th District Coast Guard in 2012. Rear Admiral, I want to thank you, sir, for being here, and we also want to thank you for your outstanding service and leadership to both our nation and the Portsmouth community. The men and women stationed here are important members of the Portsmouth family, and we appreciate all that they're doing to keep us safe here at home by their service abroad. This year, we were honored to host the Coast Guard Cutter Eagle, America's tall ship, as it moored along the Portsmouth waterfront for 3 days, hosting free public tours. More than 5,000 people from around Hampton Roads attended and visited this magnificent tall ship. So again, I want to say thanks and my appreciation to the Coast Guard and all of our coasties. Thank you. Our Naval Medical Center of Portsmouth, which is nationally acclaimed, has proudly served the military and their families since 1830. Making it the oldest continuous operating hospital in the United States. The main campus of the Navy Medical Center at Portsmouth is home to about 7,000 men and women who live and work by the Navy's core values of honor, courage, and commitment. They provide health care services to the brave men and women of all armed forces, their dependents, and retirees. However, along with their daily health care services, they remain prepared to take care of our wounded in the event of a crisis. These men and women are committed to the ideals and the expectations with the command's hallmark of first and finest. And we'd like to welcome Captain Jim Hancock, who's the XO for Naval Medical Portsmouth, here, and I want to give a brief shout out for our healthy Portsmouth. Yeah, I'll bounce back and forth. The Naval Medical Center and Admiral Wagner came out to our kickoff health initiative along with Admiral Ratty and his coasties, and we had a phenomenal walk in downtown Portsmouth. We must have had a couple of hundred people there, and to both of those installations, I want to say thank you again for being part of our community. And for over 230 years, the Norfolk Naval Shipyard has called Portsmouth home. As the oldest shipyard in the country, it predates the Navy by 31 years. The Norfolk Naval Shipyard has assisted this nation in winning 9 major wars, putting an end to piracy, sending the Great White Fleet around the world, significantly exploring the Pacific, and opening Japan to American trade. Today, we're pleased to have Mr. Jeff Cunningham here in attendance, who's the Public Affairs Officer over at Norfolk Naval Shipyard. Jeff, would you please stand? I also want to thank you for your hospitality during my time. I actually was honored to speak on the aircraft carrier Dwight D. Eisenhower for Martin Luther King Day a few months ago, and Jeff and the Navy Yard rolled out the red carpet. And so, Jeff, I want to thank you and our friends over at the Navy Yard. Now, our Portsmouth Police Department, yeah, absolutely. And from some of the comments we heard from the governor yesterday, there's some positive news coming to that Navy Yard, and we're all hoping to hear that soon. Our Portsmouth Police Department focusing on recruiting, hiring, and retaining a diverse workforce, and those efforts were recently recognized by the Virginia Values Veterans Program better known as the V3 program, we received the bronze certification, and the agency also picked up third place in the Commonwealth for the Law Enforcement Challenge. So Chief Hargis and to all of our men and women in blue, I want to say thank you. This year, total number of incidents that our police, Portsmouth Fire and Rescue and Emergency Services responded to were 17,321, and of which 13,179 were emergency medical calls. This department also implanted wireless hotspots on all of their frontline apparatuses, giving them the ability to create a Wi-Fi bubble where they can connect to the city's network while out in the field. Now, this new technology affords them the opportunity to expand their tasks out in the field, which in turn gives them the ability to provide faster and more accurate documentation of incidents in real time, which leads to better efficiency. So Chief Beck Barfield and the entire men and women of our Portsmouth Fire Rescue and Emergency Services, I want to say thank you and congratulations on a great year. Portsmouth drive and diversity are unparalleled in this region. Our neighborhoods as a collective could be called transitional because Portsmouth is a city that has always worked to combine the old and the new, merging one with the other. We have historic communities here throughout our city, like Truxton, that dates back to 1918, Craddock, one of the nation's first government planned communities, Old Town, which was established in the 18th century as the city's original neighborhood, and Shea Terrace, which has a history that predates the Revolutionary War. Along with our historic communities, we have established communities such as Cavalier Manor, Sterling Point, Edgefield, Simonsdale, and Glen Sheila. Our older communities were built to serve people. They have adapted to these needs of several generations, and they are the memories that many of us hold dear in our hearts. And we also have new and emerging communities such as Newport out in Victory, Westbury, and the Myrtles. They're a testament to our investment in our future and our generations to come. So a lot of times we like to put that in perspective because as much as I'm proud of our sister cities and my friend, the mayor here in Chesapeake, I share with him all the time. He's been running around all year talking about they're 50 years old, they're 50 years old. And I share with him, we've got shoes here that are older than 50 years old. But it's an interesting dynamic to be able to mesh the old and the new and always thinking and having a forward vision. So again, the uniqueness of our city, this little small port city here. Portsmouth is successfully attracting new and exciting residential projects in a more pedestrian and bike-friendly downtown, which will attract younger residents, thinking about the future, younger residents who desire and seek to live in an authentic and a vibrant urban setting. The Breeden Company is moving forward with a $24 million 5-story building that will be approximately 123,000 square feet with 134 Class A dwelling units on the former Des Inc. site, which sits right across from City Hall. We're pleased to have Ray and his company here in the city of Portsmouth, and we look forward to future projects. Ray and I had a real long talk. You'll probably already know I love to talk, and I love to make sure people that come this way understand who we are and our passion and how it'll fit into us moving forward with things. And so we're pleased to have the Breeden Company here working on this project, and hopefully we can do some other things in the future. Now, also speaking of projects, we got a dynamic person here that I want to now stand. He's in attendance, Dan Ashton. Dan is the founding principal of the Whitmore Company that helped revitalize our historic Parkview neighborhood, and he's now playing a major role in bringing more residents downtown. Where are you at, Dan? Are you standing? Oh, please, absolutely right. I need you to stay there. Get back up. That's right. This is me. I'm in charge. Dan came to Portsmouth in 2003. That was 11 years ago. And since that time, he has developed or in the process of developing over 650 housing units worth just under $100 million. And I want to tell you, sir, I want to thank you for your investment and your interest in Portsmouth. Dan and I also, long before I became the mayor, I'd give my Portsmouth speech. We talked years ago about Portsmouth and why a guy from Dallas want to come here and set up shop. And I peppered him and quizzed him, and I got to tell you, you proved me right. I thought you were the right guy then. I think you're the right guy now. Looking at those projects that you have under construction now and the ones that you did, and I tell you, the Myrtles was a game changer for us. When you guys came in and developed that neighborhood, and the rents and the capacities that we had there was something we hadn't seen in quite a while here in Portsmouth. So I want to thank you for your vision and look forward to future work. Thank you, sir. Also, and that's why I don't like to get hung up on you got to be here from do things. There's some people that outside can come in and take a fresh look and put a fresh set of eyes on something that we stare at every day. And it allows you to start rethinking your value and where your place is in this historic city. And that's vitally important for all of us, whether it's through business, through schools, through our communities, our quality of life, things we think that don't work or won't work. It is to our best interest to make sure we keep open minds and talk with everyone. And one thing we do here in Portsmouth, we love the dialogue. It's Exhibit A. But also in October of last year, former Governor McDonnell announced 4 new enterprise zones in the Commonwealth, including one in Portsmouth. The city now boasts 2 highly competitive state designated zones. The new zone took effect on January the 1st of this year, and they focus on the city's industrial waterfront areas in West Norfolk and Penner's Point, and also along the Paradise Creek, Elm Avenue corridor. So we're looking for good things from that incentive program that the Enterprise Zone brings. That first one we had here was a home run for our Port Center and for a whole lot of other areas to bring business in our city. We also welcome all sorts of businesses to our city last year, from 757 Crave on the harbor to Manio's in Old Town, marine specialty painting, and emerging industrial maritime business. They're along the industrial corridor there of Elm Avenue. And while Bushido Martial Arts experienced a relocation and an expansion in our Midtown area, we had 2 new non-emergency medical transportation firms to come to Portsmouth, American Lifeline Medical Transit and the Tidewater Medical Transit. They both opened up in Portsmouth last year. We also had Jimmy John's and Chick-fil-A both open their doors here in Portsmouth to record numbers, and Royal Farms has identified a property on our Victory Boulevard corridor as a prime location for a new development. Now, in attendance with us today, I see the Ron Peterson. Ron is the owner-operator of Chick-fil-A. Ron, would you please stand? Ron and I spoke when he first came here with his business, and as you know by now, I gave him what? My Portsmouth speech. And I told him, Ron, if you want to be successful, and he wanted to be, you've got to embrace our community and get your business involved with our community, and our community will take care of you. Well, this gentleman and his wife have done just that. And after talking with him the other day, he's extremely pleased with his first year reports and looking for his second year. So Ron, I want to thank you and keep up the good work in our community. I also have, and before we plaque for Ron, you stand there because we've got a new business that just opened up. Where's Mike Zoppers? Mike, would you please stand? Mike just opened a business out in our Western Victory shopping center called G-Force, and we cut the ribbon on that about 2 weeks ago. He's got indoor karting and paintballs and all of this stuff. I'm looking around, and he wanted me to get in the car, and everybody's riding around. And I said, Ron, we need to talk. I got to give you my Portsmouth speech. I say, now, if you want this business to prosper in Portsmouth, you got to do like Ron did over there at Chick-fil-A. And so we're pleased to have him here. Now, Mike's been a huge part of the Portsmouth business community for quite a while, and he's always doing things and bringing new business. He just told me earlier that he's got a couple other announcements that he's going to share with me here in the next week. So to both of you gentlemen, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being part of the Portsmouth family. Thank you. Now, at the closing of 2013, Kroger completed the purchase of 13 of the 21-acre site on the former I.C. Norcom High School on Frederick Boulevard and Turnpike Road. It is this midtown location where Kroger will build their new marketplace concept. It is a $21.5 million investment and will open with 350 employees this fall. The remaining 8 acres will be developed by Crest EG. They will be investing another $10 million in out parcels and inline shops. And with us here today is Mr. John Lucas from Kroger and Mike Berlin from Crest EG. A gentleman, again, I thank you for your investment in our city and into that Midtown corridor. That's going to be extremely exciting times this fall. And I understand from Bruce, we've got some extremely interesting information that will be coming down the pipe to announce here real shortly. We also want to congratulate Mimic. Mimic's a modeling and simulation company here in Portsmouth for making Inc. magazine's 5,000 fastest growing companies and for being selected to participate in the state's highly competitive Virginia Leadership Export Trade Program. So Mimic, you're small. We're all small. This whole region is made up of small businesses. So thank you for what you're doing. Now, the Virginia Tourism Corporation, they report that visitors coming to Portsmouth spend about $77 million annually and support about 775 jobs. That's in hotels, attractions, and restaurants. And in 2013, our Department of Economic Development created a new tourism administrator's position to help increase that visitor spending. We're pleased to say that this group focusing on these attractions and bringing residents from Hampton Roads, group tours, conference groups, and travel writers to this city, and as a major step forward in publicizing Portsmouth appeal as a visitor destination, the city will partner with the Renaissance Hotel, that's right here, in 2015 for the annual conference of the Society of American Travel Writers. Now, this conference is the nation's largest and most respected association of professional travel journalists. So I want to say great job to Patrick Small and our economic development team. That's the way to go get them. We're open for business, and we're always interested in bringing tourism into not just Portsmouth, but all over this region, because this is America's first region, and we have a lot to offer. Portsmouth is always focusing on improving the quality of life. I'm going to be done in a minute. Everybody's looking like, is he about done? We're wrapping up. And we've got a major undertaking, and I don't need to tell any of you about our public utilities project that's going on downtown. Most of you have called, either myself or members of council wanting to know when are we going to get this street back open. But that is a necessary project with the water consumptions and the projections for over the next 25 years for downtown. We really need to do that project. We also want to talk about, just briefly, the downtown Portsmouth is an important component of the city's overall business and culture environment. We hold a unique place within this region as an urban center of Hampton Roads, offering an eclectic mix of amenities with a small town community feel, absent of noise, traffic, and density. The Portsmouth Economic Development Authority established the Downtown Portsmouth Incentive Program, designated to create a business environment that the community envisions, fosters a competitive retail center, and proves to be effective in business attraction and attention. The EDA elected to fund the Facade Improvement Grant Program, the Safety and Security Grant Program, and the Windows of Opportunity Program. The incentive programs were rolled out in the third and fourth quarter of last year, and several property owners and businesses have applied and are utilizing those programs. So I want to say a great job to our EDA. And last year, our libraries, and let me get this in, our Portsmouth Public Libraries became the recipient of the Virginia Public Library Directors Association Outstanding Service Innovation Award for a Virginia library serving a population between 50,000 and 100,000. We're also pleased to report that our Portsmouth Public Libraries has increased its teen program attendance by 270%. This year we'll celebrate, Alan, you're going to love this, we're celebrating our 100th year as a library, 100 years and going strong. That's right, thank you. Working in cooperation with the Portsmouth Health Department, EVMS Brickell Library, the Portsmouth Family Medicine, Behavioral Health Services, and the Department of Social Services, the Portsmouth Public Libraries are putting together a health and wellness information center at the Portsmouth Public Library with the goal of providing reliable health information and referral to all of our citizens. Our spring opening is anticipated for that, and I want to say congratulations to Todd Elliott and his entire team, as well as all of our friends of the Portsmouth Library. And in June, the Elizabeth River Project, the City of Portsmouth, and the Port Authority celebrated the grand opening of Phase 1 of our Paradise Creek Nature Park. This one-of-a-kind nature park represents 40 acres where wetlands and forests are being revitalized in the midst of industry partners that are doing their part to restore the environmental health of the Elizabeth River. We're excited about this new park and the focus that it brings on our environment. This past year, we got another step closer to becoming even a more pedestrian-friendly and bicycle-friendly city. Our Elm Avenue Bike Lane project was completed, providing about 1.9 miles of continuous bike facilities. Also, new bikes, traffic signage, improved pedestrian access with ADA designs and signals, and a high visibility crosswalk. Along with these improvements, the city also installed 20 new bike parking spaces, bringing the total number of spaces installed downtown to 120 since 2010. I want to thank Bob Baldwin and the entire planning department for their great work in that area. That's right, absolutely. We realize that even some of these minor projects mean a lot to our citizens because they improve our quality of life. What started 2 years ago, I love this. What started 2 years ago as a child-sized bronze toad entered into the Portsmouth Annual Outdoor Sculpture Competition has turned into an ongoing effort to use public art to beautify our city. This year, this is a good part, Sam Welty was commissioned by 3 different groups to paint murals across our city. One on the outside of the Naval Shipyard Museum, that was commissioned by the Portsmouth City Museums. It represents a timeline of one of the nation's oldest shipyards, while another mural was commissioned by the supporters of the Portsmouth art. They can be seen on the side of the old Quality Shop, and you can best view it from the second floor of the Children's Museum. And the third mural was painted along the walls of our Cedar Grove Cemetery that was commissioned by Portsmouth Heritage Initiative, depicting the Battle of Craney Island. Along with these public art murals, 3 chalkboards have been installed in front of the old Colony Theater to begin the Before I Die project. This interactive art on High Street is part of a worldwide project which started in New Orleans, which invites people to reflect on their lives and share their personal aspirations in public spaces. As you can see, we're prettying up Portsmouth and for years to come. A huge thank you to all of our supporters of public art. They've been getting on me about not plugging this. I got it in. A round of applause. Look what started with just see what happens with just one child-sized bronze toad has flourished into where we are today. Never, never underestimate. As far as our museums, last year was all about local and regional partnerships. The Children's Museum of Virginia worked with Norfolk State University to produce a wildly successful Nano Day and that collaborated with Virginia Sports Hall of Fame for the Home School Day. And they also worked in conjunctions with the Virginia Zoo for the Zoo Grooves program, which gives memberships to either organization so they can have the opportunity to visit the other ones. Well, the Zoo Grooves program was so successful that another one is being planned for later this month. Funded by the Beasley Foundation and working with the Portsmouth Public Schools, another one of these partnerships, our Children's Museum hosted the Dome Quest Summer Program, where we had 15 of our students learn to fabricate planetarium domes and develop 4 planetarium shows where they presented at the Virginia Association of Science Teachers Conference and to visitors of the museum. Several of these students were proudly displaying their planetarium domes this weekend, Saturday, over at Portsmouth Public Schools STEM Day, which was hosted at Woodrow Wilson High School. We had over 800 parents and students to attend, and fun was had by all. I'm telling you, this is great stuff happening right here in Portsmouth. Partnership, our museums, our schools, our communities coming together to educate and help us all. You know, I'm gonna end with asking you, who do you like on Facebook? Everybody's on Facebook. Where are your hands? Let's see. Come on, tell the truth. I know. Put them up. That's right. Who do you like on Facebook? Well, the fans of the Norfolk Tides Baseball Club really like Craddock. We're pleased and excited to say this year that our Craddock Little Leaguers won the Tides Facebook contest with over 2,600 likes. And they will have their fields renovated by these folks. And I want to thank you to all of the Facebook fans who voted for our Craddock Little League. We're excited about those renovations and for those kids. More importantly, this Saturday, the commander of Norfolk Naval Shipyard and yours truly will be throwing out the first pitch for opening day. So this is always a great moment in our city and in our country, opening day for baseball, and for those kids, the pride that you have there. And so, and finally, this year marks our 62nd anniversary of the Portsmouth Invitation Tournament. That's nationally called the PIT. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the PIT, each year, 64 of the best college senior basketball players from across our nation are invited to participate in a 4-day, 12-game tournament in front of the public and representatives from every NBA team. However, the PIT is more than just a basketball tournament. Each year, the PI contributes back to our community. They give away 5 $4,000 scholarships to students from Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, and Virginia Beach. And in addition to some of those tournaments, the proceeds go to a local nonprofit here to be able to make a difference right here in the community. This year is no exception. We've anticipated another action-packed tournament. Special thanks goes out to Malin Parker and all of the PIT volunteers who coordinate this event. Please join us. It's April 16th through 19th for this Portsmouth tradition. And as you can see, with 2014 well underway, we have no doubt that we will continue to achieve success in Portsmouth. We have a strong and stable foundation, great partnerships, and a willingness to always improve the quality of life of our residents. It is because we have this spirit and vision that we're able to efficiently use our time and resources today so that tomorrow is always brighter, bolder future for the next generation. Let us keep setting the bar higher and higher and continue striving to create a better Portsmouth and a sustainable and a livable community. Join us this summer for all of our festivities, our High Street entertainment, our exhibit openings, one of the oldest and continuous running parades in the nation, our Memorial Day Parade, our concerts, and our new and energized array of offerings here in Portsmouth, because guess what? You're on the right side of the river. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor Wright, and thank all of you for your attention and your attendance. We stand adjourned.